Okay.
How's my lighting? Is it bright enough?
Yeah. I'll start streaming. Let's see how it works. We are streaming. Let's see how what kind of delay we get on the internet.
Is that
There we
better?
are.
Or is that too bright?
No, no, that's fine. If you turn on your PC, you will see. Oh, it look good. It's looking good. Okay, let's see. All right. Welcome everybody to the Wednesday night chat with Patrick and Nick. If I can figure out how to add Patrick's channel to the comment section, I will do that. But yeah, I can see the chat right here. Well, the chat, can you see it on the screen? If you you should log onto your PC because then you see the entire chat appear as it is. Oh, there you go. You see it. That look good?
It's a great picture.
Yeah, I got the.
It's right before he stabs Leland.
Yeah, that's. I figured out how to add a little background so that it look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah.
I'd
So
say it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow.
There's like a 15-second lag. Well,
yeah, we can swear and everything.
Well,
you got a dump button?
Yeah, well, that's the way it is. It's
yeah.
Well, it's well, you count a little bit fast.
Yeah, I did. It's probably 7 seconds.
It's most likely about 7 seconds or so, which is the norm. That's one thing I have to keep in mind when I do the auction, because I learned that
Oh yeah.
I learned that the darn auction has such a huge lag that I might have, because I've been watching Strictly Comics auction, and he gave a lot more time for people to bid, and that's just the way I have to do it, because it's just there are anywhere from 5 to 10 to 12 second.
I timed your thing. I was about 6 seconds behind.
Yeah, so it's not bad. 6 is not bad, but. Okay, welcome everybody. For those that just tuned in, Dr. Von Chilla is here.
Oh.
All right, so Patrick is here. So going forward, this is a new format that I will do the live chat, and Patrick is using Skype to join the chat. And for those that want to join my chat in the future, download Skype on your iPhone or PC or whatever it is, and you can do the same thing. I can add you to the chat just like this. It's a lot better than Google or YouTube software. I think so. Let's see. Well, we have a set top. Well, Patrick, before we start with the main topic, tell us about how you got on YouTube. Because people, you're fairly new to YouTube, so tell people what inspired you to be on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I was a typical lurker for about 2 years, where you sit off in the weeds and you watch everybody, and mostly watching you and Dr. Von Chilla and some of the others, After Comics, some of the others out there, some of the younger guys too with their things. It just, I found that watching those kind of enhanced it and made you feel like it used to be back in the day when you go to your local comic shop, where there'd always be a gang of guys around. And so it kind of enhanced comic collecting for me again. I was out of the hobby, I'd say, for almost probably 15, 20 years.
Wow.
So I got back in around 2012, and I started watching YouTube 2013, and then I started talking with you and John, and you guys inspired me to take the jump and start putting videos up. So
okay. We have Robert Finfrock, Gotham Comics, Who Dat, Dr. Von Chilla. Hello, everybody. The only one John is here as well. So people are showing up. Alrighty. So one of the thing that I want to discuss with Patrick today is the the turning point of our collecting history. You know, like it's not it's not a mystery to anyone that follow my channel that I started to collect in 1981. But I want to talk about what it was, when it was that things start to roll over and head south, because I had a great time in 81, 82, 83. So I let Patrick go first as far as what was his turning point.
Well, I would say I kind of have two.
Okay.
Oddly enough, my first turning point was in 1981.
I came in, you leaving.
I know, I passed you on the bridge. You know, I guess Marvel went out because they lost me and they picked you up, so you probably bought twice as much. But I would say the main probably reason, or two reasons really, is aged out. I started junior high, so you know there's. I noticed a lot of guys in channels mention the stigma they had about comics, but I kind of never really had it. People just knew I was into comics, and they'd say, you know, there's the comic guy. You know, I would wear T-shirts and stuff that had comic book characters on them, and no one ever said nothing. But 81, that for school reasons, but the other big reason too is that's where I first started seeing a really big change in the stories. By then I was a total Marvel zombie. I had all but given up on DC reading. Swamp Thing probably be the only thing that I stuck with through there reading. But I would say the stories. I saw a huge change in the stories. You had a lot of the Marvel artists, Perez and Byrne and some of the others that left and they went to DC. So for me, comics have always been a very art-heavy thing to where I follow art. And, you know, stories are great, but they were always secondary for me. And when my favorite artists started leaving, then, you know, Rich Buckler, even, you know, all those guys were gone. I mean, they had gone over to DC. So I think that was a big part of it. And that was near the end of the Byrne Claremont run on X-Men. So I think that was, for me, it was a big part of it. And it's funny because I recently rebagged all my stuff, and when I went through it, I could see there's pockets, and I could tell when I started and stopped. And then the other one that was a complete full stop, 81, I still kind of would collect here and there a little bit, but in 92, I remember it. I got my shipment from comics from a place in Minnesota. I opened it up, and I just felt like I wanted to throw it right in the garbage can.
So that was, so you were still buying between 81 and 92 a little bit, but you slowed down.
Sprinkled, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I would say in 87, I graduated high school and I started college, and I think a lot of guys, they pick back up again in college, because usually by the time you're in college, if people feel funny about something you're into or doing, you don't care. You know, by then you're kind of an adult, and it's like, well, whatever. You know, the old sage your mom used to tell you, you know, if your friends don't like what you do, then they're not your friends, that kind of thing. So,
but your mom didn't throw things away. She didn't throw your collection away, though.
No. My mom was great about that. You know, I think I detailed in an earlier video, both my grandma, really, more than anybody, got me started on comics. And my mom, you know, all through the years would, anytime, any special event, birthdays, you know, you got good grades in school, you know, whatever, you got comics. So Christmas, you know, it was just a big thing for us, especially growing up in the 70s. Comics were pretty much, I think, you know, we didn't have the outlets that they have today. I mean, I had 3 channels growing up on TV, and you actually had to get up and turn the dial.
so you were gone from 92 until
2012.
Wow. So you were gone for 20 years.
Gone 20 years.
Wow.
You know, 2001, 2000, I think I noticed that there was Perez and Kurt Busiek were trying to resurrect the Avengers run, and that's when Volume 3 came out. And I think I grabbed like 1 through 25 of those, but that was it.
20
yeah, I was gone for 20 years.
You didn't even, for 20 years, it was completely cold turkey, books in the closet, in storage, not even, wow.
Yes.
Okay. That's impressive.
That's why, if you saw some of the pretty high grades I got back on some, you know, 88, 89 books, it's because they were picked, you know, hand-picked out of the middle of the stack, so there was no string lines on them. They were put into a sleeve, and they've been sleeping for, you know, the better part of 30 years. So
wow, impressive. That's impressive. I mean, Well, okay, my turn to tell a little history. Well, some of the history is kind of regurgitate, but 81, I started, things was hot and heavy, 82, 83, 84. You know, 85 was the beginning of the rollover for me because there's a couple of reasons. One, leaving high school. That was a big thing because then, first of all, there was no comic book store in a little town that I go to college. So it's not like I could go to the store every week. I had to wait until I go home and have like a 6 months to catch up, right? Um, that's one reason. The other reason was many of my favorite artists, like you, I was very art centric.
Mm.
You know, Burn Run on the Fantastic Four and Alpha Flight was not anywhere near what I care to see anymore.
Yeah.
John Romita Jr. has taken over the X-Men, and that just horrific for me at that point. I was beating myself buying those books because I was the completist. I didn't
Oh
want
yeah.
to abandon my favorite title, the X-Men, but my God, it was painful to look through those X-Men books. And then um, Walt Simonson was near his end too.
Yeah. On tour. Yeah.
And Bill Sienkiewicz has already left the New Mutants.
Yep.
He was still doing some covers, but he was stopped doing the inside. So there was just almost everything that I love, as far as the titles and the artists are just start to leave, and even George Perez and the Teen Titan. By that point, the book was really diluted.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of Romeo Tango inking.
No. No.
And even the story. I was not all that thrilled about the story anymore. And the last hooray, of course, is in '86 is the Dark Knight, right?
Oh yeah.
That was the last hooray for me. And then, of course, this book, Crisis on Infinite Earth. Okay, that was a book that was outside of the Dark Knight Return. This book got me super excited because I felt that this is Perez Swan's like his peak. The cover for these 12 issues are just mind-boggling, dense of goodness in there. But
Yeah, number 8.
I remember trying to read the story. I'm just like, oh my God, what the hell is going on with Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 5? I'm like, shoot me now. I actually pulled out the books a few months back, and I can't bring myself to reread the 12 issues. I have flipped through a couple books to look at the art, but my God, I could not read the story because I'm like, God, it's so full of garbage.
Oh yeah. It's sad because sometimes you have real fond memories of certain runs or certain arcs, and you pull them out and you read them again, and they're not. The art is always good, but the stories just are not the way you remember them. And part of that is I think they don't fit the time now. But I think also you were different back then. So
yeah.
I've heard that you should always read books 3 times: when you're young, middle aged, and then when you're older.
Yeah.
I don't know if comics are the same way.
One of the things that I always not a huge fan of as far as DC is the multiverse, right?
Hmm.
I couldn't deal with that from the very start. From the very start of collecting, one of the reasons I shy away from DC, even though I like Batman and Superman. Superman I was okay with, but I didn't love him. But I like Green Lantern, I like Flash, I like Batman. But I remember flipping through those Justice League magazine books and all this multiverse stuff, the old Flash, new Flash, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? I'm
society and all that.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't care for that, and then so when this book come out, I was hoping that they will simplify it, right?
Well, that was the promise.
Yeah, that was the promise, and it was not.
It got way worse.
Like I said, I was highly disappointed as far as the story itself. I mean, the art, no doubt, love it. But my God,
even a panel. If you look in there, every panel, the machinery in the background, just some of the panels that he drew, he must have spent days just on panels, not just pages.
Yeah, I mean,
hold that up.
I mean, it's one of these days I might do a spotlight on Perez and showcase these 12 books because the art inside is just gorgeous. And the thing with this book is, I think the last few issues was not inked by Dick
Romeo Tango.
Yeah, that Romeo Tango combination again kind of disappointed me at the end.
Terry Austin, to me, in the Bronze Age, was my favorite inker because he inked both Byrne and Perez, and I think he elevated both of them.
Yeah, he inked even Walt Simonson. I mean, like I said, Terry Austin is one of those few inkers that I want to do a spotlight one of these days. I mean, I've done.
We both like him for one reason. He kept all of the Byrne originals that Byrne sold off. So we'll forever love him for that.
He is sitting on a retirement gold mine.
He is.
It's amazing that I mean it's funny how so many artists sadly sold a lot of that stuff way too early, too cheap because they.
Well, Kirby, I mean, his birthday was just the other day, and I had heard he'd sold originals for as low as $40. So
yeah, even Jack Kirby. When Jack Kirby got his art back, I can't remember the exact number, but I heard something like 2,000 pages or something.
Yeah.
And he was selling them for. I think the average price he got was like $50 a page.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, Jack! If you can even keep half of that, if your family even keep half of that, they go for $10,000 a piece. I mean, it's insane how, sadly the market didn't value these things back in the 80s or even I think in the 90s that's when things change. Okay.
I'd say even as recently as the last probably 5 years, it's really gone crazy. Because I can remember original art still was in the 2000s, 3000s, and now even guys that aren't that, you saw at the last auction you did, you highlighted. I'd say middle of the road type artists, their stuff is going for $3,000-$4,000 a piece. So, and then the big guys are going for 20 and more. So there's so much out there that some of these big collectors have all the Golden Age and Silver Age books they want. It's the only thing left they can get their hands on, I guess.
Yeah, and like I said, even in the late 80s and early 90s when I was at conventions, I see many original art pieces for $50, $80, $100. I mean, I walk right past them. I'm just like, who cares? I'm looking for X-Men '94. I don't care about this.
It was the New Mutants of the day back then.
And I think when Image launched and all those young guns was bidding up and chasing after original art. I can't remember, but I read somewhere they were paying thousands for some original art at some big auction back then. And that was like almost like the beginning of the explosion of original arts. I need to do more research on when the original art market exploded, but it certainly was sometime in the 90s.
Yeah, when I was gone.
I was, I was gone. For my history, I start to not care as much by mid 85 and from 85 to 86. That was the end of me going to the store every week, and then of course I was in college 87, 88, but I still buy, but I was never ashamed of collecting. So most of my college buddies know I collect. They saw me read the books. They didn't care. I didn't care. But it was 1993. That's when I throw in the towel. So
not long after I did then.
About a year. Basically, I graduated from grad school in 93. And I was working crazy hours. I was living in Portland, Oregon at this point. And, I remember I always read whatever I bought all the years, even all the garbage stuff. But in 93, after I graduated from grad school and started to work 60, 80 hours a week, there was a 6 month span or even 8 month span that I was like, have no time, didn't even care about books. I just go to the store once a week or every other week and pick up my pull list. And I had this long box full of books that I didn't even bother. Like I just go to the store, pick up the brown bag, go home and drop that brown bag in a long box. And I had like all this bundle of brown bag with like 10 or 20 books in there. And I'm just like, I look at the long box and just say, it's over.
Yeah. I remember I used to get boxes and they would come in from a place in Minnesota. And I can remember there was 2 or 3 boxes stacked up in my entryway and 3 months worth that I hadn't even opened. And that's when I was like, I'm done. I can't read these things. They're garbage. The big thing for me is when they let the artists start to write. When they let like McFarlane and Lee and Liefeld, when they let him write, for God's sake, that was to me the beginning of the end, because I think Marvel thought, well, maybe if we let these guys start to write and have more influence, they'll stay. But you know, they never were going to stay. They were going to chase the money, and they could own their characters over at Image. So it never got into the Image books. That was just complete tripe to me.
I bought a couple.
Yeah.
And they were horrific. Horrific. I mean, I was resentful of those guys leaving Marvel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wasn't all that resentful. I was not happy because I felt that they didn't appreciate what they had.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to me, it was not about the money because they were making crazy money with Marvel.
Oh.
You know, to me, it was more about ego. I want to do what I want to do. I mean, if you listen to even McFarlane talk, he was just like, yeah, you know, I want to do whatever I want with Spider-Man, and I don't want the editor to tell me you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, I'm the writer, the artist. I want to have the freedom to do whatever I want, kind of thing. And it's not the case. Okay, you can't just change up the whole universe to your liking, kind of thing. And you know, and they're not writers. You know, I mean.
No.
To be honest, I was not a big fan of the Jim Lee run with the X-Men.
No,
I like the art. I did not care for any of the story, Omega Red, you name it, all that stuff. I'm just like, this is just pure garbage to me. You know, I bought those books. I was happy of the art, but
somebody's thumbs downing as you're speaking. Omega Red's my favorite.
Oh, Omega Red! I'm hoarding Omega Red for the next movie. Oh my God, no! You know, I actually enjoyed the X-Men run with prior to Jim Lee taking over with what his name, Silvestri.
Oh yeah, Alan Silvestri. Yeah,
I like Silvestri.
Looking back, it wasn't bad stuff.
Yeah, I like that run with Silvestri and Chris Claremont. I thought that was underappreciated because everyone was so focused on Byrne and then Lee. And it seemed like everything in the middle got lumped into John Romita Jr., kind of just like, forget it. Like Paul Smith, all that stuff was just like jumbled into like oblivious. Like oblivion.
Paul Smith run was pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of people like Paul Smith, and I didn't care for Paul Smith because if you look at Paul Smith art, it's very flat.
Yes.
There is no dimensional depth to the.
It's cartoonish.
Yeah, it's very flat. Like the face is like just like a flat. There is no shading, no three-dimensional roundness to.
Background's almost non-existent.
Yeah, a lot of people that I argue with Paul Smith is always like that. I was like, oh, he's great. Like his art is so flat.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like a less detailed Barry Windsor Smith for me.
Yeah, I was not happy with that. I was not happy with John Romita Jr.
Without Bob Layton, I can't stand John Romita Jr. strong.
Really?
I think he's terrible. His Daredevil run was one of the reasons I stopped reading the book.
Oh, man, I like that, too.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I like the writing in that run, though. That writing was great. That was, Michelini, I think, back then in Daredevil?
Yeah. Let me look over to the chat from here.
Yeah, forgot there. I recognize some of those names.
Yeah.
I got poor vision. I can't read that small.
Yes, Man from Beantown agree about John Romita Jr. art. I actually thought that his art on Daredevil was okay. I thought his art on The Punisher was good. I actually enjoyed his work on The Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
And then even Spider-Man I thought was okay. I mean, like I said, I'm no doubt in my mind, Bob Layton made his artwork shine so much during those.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob Layton is underappreciated talent for sure. He's one of those guys that can do everything. He can pencil, he can ink. It's not a lot of people that can do both. You know what I mean? And he can do both.
I think when he went over to Valiant, that had a huge influence on the whole look of that in the '90s.
Yeah, it's. I like him. I like Bob. Bob has been one of my favorite of the '80s.
Oh yeah. Well, it's one of the first ones you saw.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Think about it. Think Iron Man 150. That's one of your first ones, and for me it was Swamp Thing 7. And looking back on it, you don't even realize it, but subconsciously, that first art you see, Rich Buckler in the whole Astonishing Tales run, really is burned into my head too. And that's where you got to start was in that book too. So.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt that's the thing with collecting. I mean, that's why if you think about it, I'm sure you and I, we met people that love Liefeld because that was the first thing they saw in the 90s, And to me, that's okay. I don't sit here and say, whenever I run into someone that say that they love Ralph Liefeld because Liefeld, I'm not sure how to say his name, but because that's how they got into the hobby in the 90s was, see Rob in the G commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he wasn't just a comic art. He was like a rock star.
And my only comment to whenever I discuss with those kind of collectors is like okay, so yes, it's okay to have a nostalgia connection to Rob because that's how you got into the hobby, but there has to be some objectivity that his stuff is not all that awesome, okay?
Yeah, agree.
You may think it was awesome in 1992 when you were 10. Now you're 40 years old. Let's not go crazy and say it's still awesome. But
like this guy.
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't have an appreciation for this. I can remember when I was a kid, I would bypass Kirby books when I was little. I don't think it was till I was probably in my teens where I started to actually appreciate the movement in his artwork and just the scale. And like if you look at, I think it's 106, Captain America.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic cover, and it's a still image, but there's so much movement in it. And I think sometimes you get caught up on the lines and things like that. So, the other one would be Gil Kane is another one. And, looking back when I got back in and started collecting, I realized my favorite covers of the Bronze Era were all drawn by Gil Kane. So you couldn't have had Bronze Age without him.
Correct. Yeah. So, one of these days I need to redo. There's a whole bunch of artist spotlight I need to redo because like my first year of doing spotlight, I was kind of like filling out how to do these things, and I did a half-ass job on Gil Kane.
They were good. I watched them.
I did a half-ass job on Perez. So I need to redo those two guys for sure because I really didn't do justice to those. Even like Bill Stankovich, I don't think I did a good job on his spotlight either. But speaking of Kirby, the funny thing was back in the early days of collecting, I found Kirby fairly early, and I didn't even know. See, back then I was so new that my first sight of Kirby was his Captain Victory.
Oh wow! So right to the end.
Yeah, and at the same time, I was reading those Fireside book.
Oh.
And I did not even make the connection that was the same person.
Same guy.
Because it was so different. You know, I mean, in my young eyes, in my first year of collecting, I'm like, oh, this art was unique because I'm always after the unique looking art, right?
Yeah.
That's how I was drawn to like Simonson or Miller or Sienkiewicz. It's always something different. So when I saw Kirby for the first time from Captain Victory, I'm like, wow, this looks so unique, so different, so cool. But I had no idea it was the same guy that was drawing the Fantastic Four #1 from the Fireside book that I was reading. I didn't even pay attention. I mean,
really, when I flipped up, I realized the same guy that drew Captain America back in the 40s, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was so... not until like maybe 2 years later, I think. Like by 83, that's when I'm like, oh... I think that's when I start to... You know, after 2 or 3 years in the hobby, I start to understand that there are artists change.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, up until like my first 2 years in the hobby, I thought, you know, everybody draw the same way forever, right? But then, you know, that's when I realized that there are evolution, just like Miller, right? I saw his art in even like Wolverine miniseries, and then boom, by the time he did Ronin, it was like
totally different. Yeah,
and then,
totally different.
And by the time he does Dark Knight Return, it was like.
You know, I think you did a Byrne spotlight too, and early on he very much aped Jack Kirby drawing. I think, especially if you look at Byrne's early drawing with hands, especially. Yeah, his artwork was very Kirby-esque.
Yeah, that was a cool reprint or inclusion of his pencil pages that he did before he broke into the business. That was really cool. I wish I had that magazine, that fanzine somewhere.
Yeah.
He was cloning Kirby for sure. You know.
Yeah.
Let me look at the chatting here. People are busy chatting.
Yeah, they usually roll in around 7:30. So.
Well, Gil Kane forever is Dr. Von Schiller, as you said. See, the reason why I want to do Gil Kane again or redo his entire spotlight is that Gil Kane, you know, to me, some guys are they're headed from like to me like Bernie Wrightson, Neil Adams, or even John Byrne. Or there's many artists that got up to like the get up to speed real quickly.
Yeah.
But if you look at Gil Kane work from the 50s through the 60s, it evolved slowly.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, I mean, I appreciate Gil Kane more by seeing that, because I think I realized that he has talent. But he didn't have that Neil Adams talent where, you know, I can draw real people like that.
Yeah.
Okay? I bet you Gil Kane practiced with his hand, posing with his fingers. I mean, he must have done a zillion drawing daily just to get his craft.
Yeah, the reps. I agree. Because if you look at his early Western stuff in the 50s, and then you look at it, you know, into the 80s when he was doing Daredevil and 1,000 other covers a month, it's totally different. And he always had the good, I think, anatomy usage. He seemed to know anatomy as good or better than a lot of the artists out there. You rarely saw him put people in poses that weren't actually anatomically correct, where a human could actually do that.
Yeah. And I think
Gil Kane. I think of like Gene Colan or. Oh, it's that guy I can't stand. Frank Robbins. Frank Robbins drawing to me, it's there's gymnasts, Olympic gymnasts that couldn't bend their bodies the way that he. Maybe if you were a Mego doll, you could bend that way, but just crazy stuff he used to draw in the 70s, and just weird faces, disturbing faces that weren't meant to be disturbing, I think. So.
I'm just saying hi. Brooke is here as well from the UK, and he said, "Great shirt, Patrick."
Oh, it's a Gil Kane.
There you go.
Iverson knows. So it's late over there for Brooke. That's like midnight, right?
Yeah, it's midnight. You know, the boys.
He's counting Earl Grey to stay up late.
Yeah. You know, like I said, I definitely want to redo because like I said, from just looking at his, because I didn't have a lot of Gil Kane work. I don't have anything from Gil Kane in the 50s. But I have a lot of his 60s stuff at DC. And you can see the slow evolution of him. He didn't have the up the nose shot yet. He didn't have the body sprawling out poses yet, and then slowly you see those poses start to come in, and it's fantastic to see that he started to use those poses on every book, and he started to introduce them on the cover. I mean, I actually I think I have his first cover where he is the sprawling backwards. Because I went through the database and trying to find an earlier book, an earlier cover that he did that have a sprawling pose, and I think I have that book. It's a Green Lantern book. Wow. Hi, Shannon. Shannon is here. Solace for string band. I can never say his name. Solid 4-string band. There you go. Marvel visionary Gil Kane. Yeah.
Look at that. It's just a phenomenal picture there.
Yeah, that pose is insane. That pose is awesome. I mean, I think, to me, I rank the top 3 poser as far as like top 3 artists that draw awesome pose would be, not in any particular order, okay? I'm just going to throw in there my top 3 favorite. Neil Adams, Jack Kirby, and Gil Kane. Yeah. When it comes down to like twisting body, contortion, or just dynamic.
Look at this. Look at that punch there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's insane. Like I said, that's my 3. Neil Adams, Gil Kane, and Jack Kirby. Not in any particular order, but if I had to name the 3 favorite artists that draw memorable poses from time to time, almost every book you can find a beautiful picture like that. It's those 3 guys.
What's your favorite? Up the nose.
Up the nose, yeah. He started to do up the nose in his mid run of Green Lantern. He wasn't doing those up the nose shot yet on his early days with Green Lantern.
Yeah, I looked at a lot of his Western stuff, and I just wonder if he was influenced by that the big book that was big back then was Mobius. There, I think it was, did the Blueberry Western, and if you look at him, I think he was mimicking that a little bit too. So I wonder if he was just one of these guys who was really good at changing his art style to the time, because he was able to draw very gritty Western stuff, and then when it slid into into the 70s, he just morphed into a hero artist.
And out of many artists, I think I like Gil Kane in his later years even more.
I agree.
I mean, I think that's why that's why I want to redo my Gil Kane spotlight, because I had some of his stuff from the 90s, late 80s. Batman, Detective, and they are fantastic. I mean,
the volume of stuff that he could churn out was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he like I said, I'm surprised that he's not as more loved.
Yeah,
I have heard many people complain that they think he's a lazy artist. I heard the word lazy, and I'm like, they're like, oh, some of his covers are not good. I'm just like, the man was doing like 4 covers a month,
at least.
Yeah, as well as drawing a book. Come
on
now.
He did at least one interior book. Him and Kirby together were lifting the majority of the work there at Marvel in the 70s.
Yeah, but there's a guy on YouTube that actually say Gil Kane is lazy.
I wish I could read these comments. They're so small.
That's why you need to have your PC like me.
Yeah. Well, I figured by now Dr. Von Chilla's worn out his exclamation point key on his keyboard.
Well, he can talk Kane all day long.
I know. That's one of the reasons why I haven't done a Kane video, because if anyone's going to do it, it's him. So, and he's done them. So
well, for those watching this chat, and if you want, we have room for at least one more person. Okay,
yeah.
John, if you
John
want
video.
to participate, call Patrick, and he will walk you through on how to do on your iPhone, assuming you have an iPhone.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
Yeah, because
that we'll get him a webcam.
Yeah,
all he needs is a USB port.
Yeah, I think so far the format that we have here is significantly better than what YouTube software allowed.
Yeah, it's smoother.
Yeah. I can't stand the tiny screen.
No.
I can't. Plus, yes. So can we have up to 4 people? Absolutely, we can have up to 4 people. So
we don't want to get like the Brady Bunch square going though. With
yeah. So for those
Alice in the middle.
Yes, for those that watch the live chat right now or later, if you want to appear as a panel like Patrick is doing now,
yep,
feel free to email me. I'd be happy to talk about any topic. Okay, I can talk about anything. I let Patrick decide on whatever topic he wants next week. Should he want to participate? I chose the topic today, so next time he can choose a topic and we can talk about variant or whatever.
Oh yeah. No. Batman, Elmer Fudd forever.
No. We can talk about hot book alert.
Oh, I just got my Elmer Fudd back. I got a 9.8. It's 2 weeks old.
It will be a very quiet chat because hey, if you are a new collector or love variant and you want to be on the show, you are welcome to join and talk as much as you want to. I would just be asking questions and listening.
You know what it is about that? Some of the collecting isn't for me, but what I do like is some of the enthusiasm. A couple of the guys had videos out where it was random acts of kindness, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he sent them piles of books, and I didn't care about the books, but just watching their reaction to the books was the best part of it to me. You and I have talked before where you get these haul videos and it's just book after book after book, and there's no reference to why they like it. They don't even talk about the art, or sometimes they do, but it's usually money driven. And for me, that's, I don't know. It's not while I'm in it. I do sell comics and I get them slabbed and things like that, but it's really just so that I can get more comics. It's not to keep a roof over my head or feed myself. But there's guys that do that too, and they do a really good job of it. But
yeah,
I guess whatever makes you happy. If you're happy digging through piles of books, and I see these guys at the shows, and they find a $15 book in a dollar bin, and it makes their day, and I guess that's cool.
Well, ultimately, we all enjoy the hobby in a different way. Okay, I mean, I can't tell anyone else on how to enjoy the hobby. I do it my own way. I am super happy that the hobby is thriving. Okay, that if you ask me, 10 years ago, if I think the hobby will be as hot as it is today, I would say no way.
No, I didn't think so either.
But the convention are packed.
They are. Even the little ones. I go to these little ones that are, like at a fireman exempt hall, and there's thousands of people there.
Yeah, it's packed. So, like I said, it's the weather. Sure, it's kind of concerned me a little bit that a lot of the younger collectors are more focused on investment.
Yeah, flipping. Yeah,
and that can be the downfall for some people because you buy something for $5, you're hoping to make. When you don't have a lot, and you think that you can make $20 from a $5 investment, that seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. And I think ultimately, in the long run, hopefully, the newer young collectors that are too obsessed or involved with the return on the new books will learn to enjoy the hobby like most of us now, because ultimately, in the long run, unless you like it more than just the money, I can't imagine it be this fun 20 years from now for those same people.
No, because Anthony Reaper, he touched on it, that he's kind of the moral compass of the community here. He kind of he's okay with everything the way everyone collects, but he touched on a couple of his videos that when you collect, it really should be collecting for you. And you shouldn't be collecting to impress people on YouTube. You shouldn't be collecting to, impress the guys at the local comic shop. And I think that's good. I think that if you are into it and you are into the flipping and you do get a rush when you flip, I think that's great. But at the same time, it seems like you should have a goal. So if you're going to flip 20 books and make $20 a piece on them, say, then, well, you got $400. So go and buy a good book for that. Something you really want.
No, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with flipping things you can make a profit and use a profit to buy a book you really want. I mean, that's what I've been doing for a long time, and I mean, there are people that frown on flipping altogether, but that's a different topic to discuss on one of these videos. How the old saying, "True collector never sell."
Yeah. Or never slab. That's the other one I get. You go to these shows and all these dealers, they just hate that you slab books.
Well, one of these,
you're a fool, and eBay's evil, and all this other stuff.
One of these days, I would do a series on all the saying that, like true collector never sell, true collector never slab, true collector never blah blah blah. There's a whole lot.
Where's that book? I want to know where that book is. What these rules are. I don't have it, so I've been doing this wrong. Something I did notice in the last 2 weeks, I've been going to some of the local comic shops, and I keep hearing the same thing, and I am worried that the shops are going to fade, is the variants and some of these other things that are coming out there are burying these guys in inventory. Because it's hard for them to gauge on what to order, and they will routinely get guys that have 20, 30, 40 books in a pull list that just space on them and don't come in anymore. And they get stuck with, back rooms full of books. And a lot of these guys are month to month at these little comic shops now. Because, a lot of people read digital now. Obviously they don't get any of that. So they lost people. And then on top of that, you get that, Marvel and Diamond are shoving books down these guys' throats that they really don't even want. And
now,
then what?
I have heard, we all have heard the problem with pull lists not being bought.
Yeah.
I don't have a pull list. I haven't had a pull list
I
don't have a pull list since the 90s.
No.
But most of these stores have a policy where if you don't come in 3 months, they cancel your pull list and move on?
Yeah, they do, but I mean, you could gather up 100 books in that time.
Yeah, I can see.
10 guys, that's 1,000 comics. That's a lot.
They should cut that down to 1 month, because that's 4 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And then unless you come in and say, we're on vacation, I'm going to the jungle for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But there gotta be a way that business need to stop people from wasting their money, because ultimately, by having a pull list and not buying the books, that's wasting the shop money, because they're ordering stuff for you, and then they sit on dead inventory, and that's how one of the big shop here in Florida.
I can tell you, last week I was in 2 shops, and both of them they were just using their old back issue boxes to prep stuff that was selling on eBay. So a lot of them are going that way too, and it's sad. I mean, a couple of them, I felt bad. I wanted to look in this. I was trying to find books to finish my Marvel Value stamp book, and the stacks that I needed to look in, he had boxes all lined up. So I kind of had to move him out of the way and get at the things. Once I explained to him what I was doing, he was excited, and he helped me. He went in the back room and found Swamp Thing 14 so I could clip the stamp out of it.
Now, are you speaking of stamp? Are you have you started to cut that stamp that you got?
Stay tuned.
Okay, all right. I mean, I've been so lazy. I have I think I have 5 or 6 stamps. I bought the books, beat up readers.
Me too.
That I need to cut the stamp out, but the way I had to cut my stamp is a lot of work.
You follow that little edge?
Oh yeah, I use a
You're
raise.
talking X-Acto knife.
I do. You know, there's a couple of video of me using the X-Acto knife.
Though. What are you going to use for adhesive?
I just use glue that I have. I have like a glue that I have.
Because the book I have, I think I mentioned in the video, I'm pretty sure they use rubber cement.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Like I said, I have seen
books. They're flexible. I can feel it. If you use Elmer's glue, it would be rigid.
Yeah, I think the book that I have, the previous owner did glue on many of the stamps. I'm following his footsteps. Basically, the previous owner did a really good job of cutting. So when I bought the books, I'm just like, man, it would be a travesty for me to just cut 4 straight lines. being OCD that I am, I'm just like, I need to follow his same footstep and cut the stamp the same way to make the book completely perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
I just cut him pretty tight. He didn't follow the little indentations, so
okay.
He did not. It's good enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I have 5 or 6 stamps I need to cut. I'm still missing about.
Just a visual aid, just in case people don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. I think I'm still missing 8 or 9. It's less than 10. I know that. I'm barely.
Did I send you? There's a website where you can get the list of everything.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have it. I have the list. I have all the books. You know, yeah, looking great.
So, I picked these up this weekend. There's Sif. That was the last one I had to find.
Ah.
And then there's Gollum or Golem.
Yeah, I need to get. I'm so busy with so many different videos that I'm just like, it's hard to find time to do. You know, I have so many ideas for different videos. You know, being the way I am, I get tired of doing the same videos, same topics all the time. So I need to do something different just to keep my mind, keep being creative.
Yeah, I try to. I like to get at least one out a week. I think I will. I'm going on vacation for about 8-9 days, so I probably won't have one for a while. But I'm trying. I should have one out this week. But just to show that I'm not just an old comic snob, I do have some newer books.
Yeah, you know.
I showed you this one the other night, and I love this cover.
It is. It's a cool cover.
Yeah,
that's a sweet. Have you looked at in? I think the art inside is pretty cool too.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's definitely just like the Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah, I like that.
It's rescue because forever that was a terrible character.
Yeah,
and you know, I think that series really rescued it to where they gave the guy depth. He wasn't just some goofy, you know, second-rate villain. Kind of a tragic story.
Yeah.
It totally looks like the cartoon for anyone that hasn't seen.
I like it though. I like it. You know, I dig it. Just like you know, the Batman Adventures series and DC put out like 4 or 5 of those series back in the 90s.
Kind of a cool version of Clayface in there too.
Yeah, I like it. I actually like that art a lot. You know, I like the cartoon. You know, I like the cartoon, so I'm a big fan of the art style.
Yeah, but I love that cover. Well, I do have some new stuff, mostly old though.
Yeah,
my sweet spot 67 to 77.
Yeah, I have been busy making new intro for all of my video series.
Whatever happened to the intro music you had there?
Which one? The one that Brooke did?
Oh no, yeah, everyone loves ETA Nick. I think was it your son singing?
No, that's the Sleepy Reader's daughter.
Oh, I knew that was a little kid. I didn't know who that was.
It was Sleepy Reader's daughter. She's 1 year younger than Anthony.
Oh, okay. It was either that or maybe I thought you got a hold of some helium.
No, she was. It was Sleepy Reader's daughter, and she sang in a video, and then Brooke did a tribute to me and kind of take her singing, add on to his clip, and did a video, which is pretty cool. I like that video.
Yeah, his video is real neat. I saw that. It like shows a picture of the map, and it's kind of rappy, isn't it?
Yeah, Brooke from the UK, if he's still there, he was rapping. Yes, he was.
Yeah, his videos always have super high production value.
Well, Brooke is he's a pro.
Yeah.
Brooke,
No, I know that's what he does for a living. So.
Yeah, he's a pro when it comes down to editing and camera works and all that stuff. I'm not a pro whatsoever.
Me either.
I'm just waste my time playing around, and I actually created a new intro for every video series.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you saw the intro for the comic, the Spotlight.
Yeah.
I did something like I did an intro like that for every series. So I actually spent the last month doing them, and I did like 15. I didn't know I had 15 different series. But one of these days, well, going forward, starting yesterday, you see video that had the 5-second intro.
Yeah. The Macaro.
Yeah, so going forward, you will see that every video, whether it's auction or the art of the flip or whatever it is, there will be a 5 to 8 second clip. I'm thinking about putting all the clip together into like a montage, and then just put a video right there for the channel.
My favorite one though is Slab Talk when Batman's bitch slapping Robin.
Yes, I have that, and I add the slapping sound.
You did? Well, I was wondering if you get Brooke, he could do that thing that some of the animation does where they take the still images and they move them within the panel.
Yeah, I want to do that. Trust me, I want to do that.
Probably do it in like 2 minutes.
But I have not figured it out yet. But actually, that's the last one that I have not done because I need to download a sound of a slap.
Yeah.
I recorded my own slap.
Yeah.
I mean, but
perfect.
No, it's a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, for me, YouTube is for fun, and whatever I do to make it fun, keep me motivated to make the video. Then I do it. It's it's just another way for me to have fun.
There's a little bit of that, but when I started doing this, I looked at what John, Dr. Von Chilla did too. His big thing is one take. He pushes that button. There's no editing. He walks into frame, does what he does, and walks out of frame. Drops the mic essentially.
I do the same thing, and sometimes I'm sure people notice I repeat myself in the video, like because I'm just like I say something like, oh, that's what but I'm like I'm not gonna edit. I'm not gonna cut out anything.
No, I don't either. I probably should, but
I probably should, but the way I am, I'm just like just who cares,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone that watched my video said, "Oh, he repeat the same thing the first 5 seconds."
Yeah.
He stuttered. But no, I like I said,
I feel bad. Is there any questions on here?
Silver Ace, bring back, Stop the Stupid, the series. Brooke want me to do.
That was kind of a rant series, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did 2. I think I did 2 or 3.
Was it the purple label you were freaking out on?
I was purple label. It was green label.
The first video I found, how I found you, it was very dimly lit, and you were using an eraser on the back cover. And you were talking so quiet. It was like, have you ever seen Bob Ross painter before?
Yeah.
The guy in PBS with the big hair?
Love that
You were
guy.
talking very quiet. It was almost like you were doing a video in your house and you didn't want anyone to know you were doing a video.
Well, I just look at the time.
You were so quiet and you were racing and...
Yeah, I just look at the time, Patrick. It's 7:57. See how time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah, well, we were having fun. I don't know if anyone else was.
Well, anyhow, I'm looking at the thing. People are having fun. You know how they usually have their own conversation.
Yeah, it gets a mind of its own.
Yeah.
I was just waiting to say, like, who's this jerk? I didn't see that comment yet.
No, I need to. I will put your link, a link to your channel in the comment section later, so that if for those that are not subscribed to Luther Manning, this is Luther Manning, the channel, they can subscribe to you and see your video. Patrick has about 7 or 8 videos up.
I think it's actually over a dozen now.
Well, okay. Does it?
Well, 2 of them are pretty. They're beginning. One of them's just me on the front porch reading comics.
Yeah.
And one of them's like a still shot of a Quist box.
Correct. I didn't count those 2.
Oh, yeah. What's funny is I look and somebody's been watching the porch video like every day for a month.
Wow.
It's the same person.
Somebody need a relaxation.
It's in the morning, yeah.
It's John.
I'm thinking it's somebody in a cold climate.
It's John. He's having his morning coffee and he wants to in the sun. Well, anyhow, I had a lot of fun. Patrick, you can come up with a topic for next week. Email me, whatever you want to talk about.
Next week, you find a guest, someone else, because I'll be in Yellowstone National Park next Wednesday.
Okay. Oh, next week, actually...
I don't know if I'll have any kind of Wi-Fi out there. I think it's pretty spotty.
Next week, I might have Reaper Tate. I just remember.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Reaper Tate contacted me that he wants to participate in a chat. No, not next week. Is
he on now? Is he on tonight?
No, he's at school right now. Actually, he wants to participate, but he cannot until after December. He's done with his Wednesday night schooling thing in December. So I told him once his schooling is over in December, he's free to join us in our panel. But for other people,
I have some topics that I think it would be good if he was in on.
Okay.
The one I mentioned to you the other day when we were talking.
Okay. Well, for now, I will be solo for next week unless somebody contact me.
If I find out that I can do it, I'll contact you.
Okay.
And maybe we can get live video of me being mauled by a bear.
Well, like I said, if your iPhone is working, you're in. Like I said, we are using...
Stand on the top of the building.
Well, for
if
those
I get some live footage of Old Faithful, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, for those that just tune in, Patrick is in the chat using Skype. Okay, so I'm able to add him to the chat with Skype. So that's how we're gonna roll going forward. So if other people want to join the chat, get on Skype and I will add you to the chat. With that, it's 8 p.m. It's time for us to say goodbye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Good night.
Thanks for being kind.
Oh, I'm sure people are kind.
Can you see these comments afterward? Or do they disappear?
No, if you go later, you can reread all the comment on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're on a bigger computer, you can reread all the... That's why I had the comment there. See, in the past...
Yeah, I have a 32-inch monitor, or I could rig it to the TV behind me, I guess.
But that's why I add the chat to the screen, because in the past, you cannot read any of the comments after the live chat. And that was...
Yeah, one of that one guy, I can't remember his name. I think he's out of Texas.
Legend, the great legend?
Yeah, he always wears a hat.
Yes,
his comments are like overlaid the video, and I can't read it for any. I mean, even on a big screen, I don't know how he reads them.
Well, Rob, he can do it. Hopefully, people can read it over Wolverine face.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Anyhow,
you should have had a Jack Kirby picture there.
Well, I will switch up the picture every chat.
Gotcha.
It will
keep it fresh.
Yeah, I will try to add some picture behind here too. I have some foam poster that I bought.
Ah.
I just need to buy like a laminated thing to put them on the wall. So it will slowly develop so that it won't be just a blank wall behind me.
There's the comic room. There's actually a video on my channel. Anyone wants to see the comic then.
Well, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you all later. Time for me to cut out. Bye, everyone.